So a man stopped me on the road today and said, "Look, dude, you can either vote Democrat or catch a hot oil filter." And I said, "Ah." Episode 22. G. Michael Francis breaks Benks. Wow,
That's
I
funny.
have broken you.
Yeah,
and on that on that note, welcome on it all on YouTube and in podcast land. You are listening to the Tangent Kings. I roll it. Welcome back once again to the Tangent Kings podcast. I am, of course, your humble servant, G. Michael Francis, and I am here with my partner in crime, my felon from another melon. I really got to think of something else, Mr. Jet Banks. How you doing today, sir?
belch. Insert belch here. I'm doing well, Mike. It's great to be on the show with you tonight, filming this lovely Tuesday evening, May 4th.
It is Star Wars Day. May the Fourth be with
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Remember when Star Wars was good?
Yeah,
I
you
hope
know
it
it's
makes a good comeback.
it's funny. I did actually make a uh, a poll on this uh, on Catholic Geeks, which is a group of I follow on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, what kind of Star Wars fan are you? And the three options I came up with were, I think it was Novus Ordo of the Republic, which means you accept everything into the canon, including the Disney stuff and the so on and so forth. And then I came up with the Disney Dubia, which is, you accept the prequels and the sequels, but you reject, but someone who rejects the Disney canon.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third one, I'm kind of proud of this. And if you're Catholic, you'll get it. I said that the third option I came up with was Jedi Vacantist.
What's that mean?
I think my caption I put in was anything after made after episode 6 is heresy, and there has not been a legitimate director since 1983.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah, I was kind of proud of that.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, and then people kind of tend to fall in those camps. It's funny. I just remember how much Star Wars has changed. Well, it's funny. I've noticed this over the past few years, and not just with Star Wars specifically, but how Star Wars specifically changed, but like a ton of arts have changed just in general very rapidly, very quickly. How politicized they got very rapidly. Star Trek's a great example. What's another example? A lot of the showrunners for Mass Effect, the video game trilogy, that series definitely, when they did Andromeda, got really political. For example, those are some of the examples that come to mind. But it's almost like it's kind of funny with Star Wars, where definitely before Disney bought it out, it wasn't like there was an agenda to it. And after that, after not only after they bought it out, but definitely as the years have gone on, it's gotten very like on the nose, like, hey, guess what political ideology we support? I'm like, dude, I just want to watch my stupid sci-fi movie. Leave me alone, man.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the original three, I consider it a masterpiece.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Hayden Christensen sort of, I almost said boinked.
You boinked it. No, stick with that. That's good.
Well, he borked.
Write that down. Write that down.
I don't know why. My mind wants to say borked, but that's not quite the right
I like
word
that
anyway.
one more. He borked it up.
Yeah, he borked it up.
He borked it good. I need to. That's my thing now.
Although I do know some people who would say, the insecurity that Hayden Christensen portrayed actually sort of plays into how Palpatine manipulated Anakin's insecurities. because that is kind of how Anakin Skywalker became Darth Vader. He wasn't necessarily manipulating him on his dark side. He was manipulating his insecurities, about his mother, about Padme.
I mean, you could say that. I think we know. Not that Hayden Christensen can't act, but like certainly the direction George Lucas gave him is like.
I don't even think George Lucas directed the prequels.
Yeah, he did.
Why do I have the feeling? Why do I keep thinking he didn't?
Well, because with the original 3 films, for example,
that's right. He only directed the first one.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that George Lucas with the first 3 films was a collaborative effort. You had a lot of talented writers. George wrote the script for episode 4, and he did I think if I recall correctly, anywhere from 5 to 7 redrafts of the script.
I think because I think Mace Windu was actually supposed to be in the first. It was in the first draft, among other things.
He very well might have been. I know
he was. I've seen it.
Oh, you've seen it. I know the name Valorum was in one of the earlier drafts as well, but it was someone did a comic book of the early draft of Star Wars episode 4, and it was weird. There's some cool stuff. Alderaan was named Aquila. Luke and Leia were twins, and
they still are.
Well, they were, but they were they knew it at the beginning, and they were traveled together. And there was, I think Obi-Wan was part robotic or something, and Luke's dad was still alive. It was very different. It was very different versus how much it changed. And then C-3PO was a chick,
which is how she ended up in Spaceballs.
Spaceballs. It was also Metropolis ripoff. But by the way, have you ever seen Metropolis?
No.
It's an old.
I know it's an old. I know it's an old movie. Mm-hmm. Literally, all I remember is the workers marching one way and then marching the other.
Yeah, it's. I would say it's worth watching once. Silent films are very hard by today's standards. It's harder to watch because you have to be very patient with it, and it's also 3 hours long. So you have to be very I have to kind of work my way through. It's worth watching. It's definitely a masterpiece, but it's also very of a different era. But that's Metropolis specifically. But obviously, getting back to Star Wars, yeah, it's definitely before Disney bought it out. Very.
It had its own sort of elegance, especially in the original trilogy.
Yeah,
it's a story ultimately of redemption, and yes, Episode 5 was a bit of a dumpster fire. Oh, quack! Not good.
Empire Strikes Back was a dumpster fire. Is that your hot take, Mike? No, Empire was the best part of the freaking series, dude. That movie was the best. You think, dude? No, seriously though. I mean, I'm gonna tease you for it endlessly, but you actually think Episode 5?
I don't know why. It just popped into my head, and there was just no filter.
Oh my god, dude! That's all right. Now we're gonna have let's get into a political argument about the merits of Episode 5.
Oh, good lord.
The Civil War in America is starting over Episode 5 right now, and this is the focal point.
I actually did like Episode 5. It's just I don't know why it just popped in my head and out my mouth.
That's hilarious. We should have that as a meme, cut out of context, put somewhere. Someone please do that.
Sam, don't you dare.
He's gonna do it. He's gonna be like, "Hey." Sam's like, that's what I do. I visit Idaho. And then I make memes about my bro's podcast, bro. He doesn't talk like that. He's more like, hey.
Yes, I know. I've met him a few times.
Yes. He's very mysterious. But, it's funny. But no, yeah, the original trilogy is great. Jokes aside. Episode 6, I mean, the parts of the Ewoks, that's obviously, people have criticized that a lot. There's weaker parts of Episode 6, but, personally, I still think Return of the Jedi is still personally my favorite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that culminates in the redemption of Anakin Skywalker.
And that's really satisfying.
It is.
Especially played back against the backdrop of Episode 5. Boy, that's just fun. And it's a little more lighthearted at parts too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know what got to Harrison Ford with how he was running away from the bunker. That was just awkward.
When he did what?
When he was running away from the bunker before it went kaboom.
Oh.
He's like, boom!
Why wouldn't you? Like, if you know it's gonna explode, you gotta run.
Well, yeah, like a run, not like.
Make that a GIF. Someone please make that a GIF. Oh, no!
Easy, Chewy.
Yeah, it's Tuscan Raiders.
Whatever.
Racist. You're racist against sand people. Screw you, Mike.
No, I'm racist against your bad accents. I need note to self: weaker alcohol next time.
Mike's off the cuff. Mike on the rocks.
I actually can't use that title.
You can't use Mike on the rocks?
No, because
Why?
there's a I think it's a metal album by that name.
Oh man.
And I find this out after I post the first episode of Mike on the Rocks.
That means that you have to use it now.
No.
Metal Bro.
No, I'm not metal.
Metal Apocalypse. Not yet.
The closest I get to metal is I listen to Sabaton. And that's not even metal.
Have you listened to Black Sabbath?
No.
Anakin, you're breaking my heart. Sabaton, it's coarse, it's irritating, and it gets everywhere. Padme, I love it when you wear your dress without a back on it. And she's sitting there like, oh my god, I'm in this
Where's
movie.
the creeper button? Where's the creeper button?
Eject! 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 You have Gene.
Cheerio, chap.
He really. So he starts caressing her back, and she's looking at him like this. And then all of a sudden, you have Genie from Aladdin saying, "Mayday! Mayday!"
Sam, please make that a meme. I will post it in the next video.
Yeah, just request him to make memes. He's like, "No man if I do."
I want to do a meme reaction video one of these days.
It'd be really funny if we did like for a special, we just pretended to have like hot takes on opinionated things, or like find something that no one has a hot take on and just make hot takes out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone's arguing about pineapple on pizza. It's like no one actually gives a crap about that. I mean, does anybody actually really care about pineapple on pizza? It's just like you're supposed to pretend to care about it, and like I don't. It's like
I'll eat it.
But... Eat it. I'm looking at you, Dad.
But then again, I did serve in the Marine Corps. We'll eat just about anything that's not poisonous.
What about crayons?
Unless we're desperate.
You remember that one joke? I saw this one meme years ago where someone said the infantry entrance exam. It's basically like it's a blank piece of paper. Your name, write your name. Here's a crayon. Draw a line from the dot A to dot B. That's the first question. The second question is do not eat the crayon.
Yeah. I am Marine, therefore I eat crayons.
I eat crayon. I eat pain. Yeah, we're borking it up this episode.
Yeah, but especially on it. Fun factoid. You know what the French word for pencil is?
Kniggets. Monty Python. What is it?
Crayon. Spelled the same way.
I just sending some French memes. But we should probably start segueing into our main topic.
Yes, we should, considering we've been on this for over 10 minutes now.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I'm good for a nice comical entry, especially since I'm about to lose brain cells with our first topic.
We should actually talk about Star Wars more often. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I will say before we get off that topic though, that it is nice kind of seeing Kathleen Kennedy. Effectively, she's been removed from power, and Kathleen Kennedy's getting removed from power. The lady that's responsible for ruining Star Wars single-handedly.
Oh.
George Lucas made the horrible mistake of appointing her the heir of Star Wars, and she's been terrible because she's been super political. It's like, let's kill all the great existing characters and replace them with our ideologically possessed characters. I'm like, oh my God, stop. So she's getting the axe, and Gina Carano might be back from The Mandalorian. So that's good.
Well, I thought she had that thing with Daily Wire though.
She did, but they're also getting her back for,
she's going to be a busy gal.
Yeah. Yeah. Disney and Kathleen Kennedy underestimated the backlash, and they're like, "Oh crap, uh, we're a company, not a government, so we actually need to listen to people that sign our paychecks versus we've got more guns than our constituents. We can just make them pay all the taxes, right?"
Hmm.
But yeah, no, she sounds like she's coming back, which is fantastic. I don't know what they're.
Woohoo! She was
Yeah,
actually my favorite character on that show. Although
Mike has a.
I've still only ever seen season 1.
I actually had an idea. Apparently, yeah, she. I had an idea of. Well, anyway, that's not unrelated. I'll come back to that later. But she might be coming back, which is great because she's a strong female character that isn't a Marxist character, right? And
Mm-hmm.
she's likable and watchable, and you like her on screen. But Mike, you remember you've seen Mandalorian season 2, right?
No, I've only seen season 1.
Season 1 is fantastic. Season 2 is a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
What's really cool is that when you see her character Cara Dune in the second season, you can kind of just see like she's just so excited to be back on the show. Like she's sitting there beaming, like the character's like, "I'm so happy, it's so great," and she's just enjoying herself. I'm like, that's fun. That's why you want to watch TV. It's like everyone's having a good time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just like people want to watch our show, all 15 of you. Actually,
Yay!
18. 18.
Yay! So that means we can drive now
Without an adult.
without it. Whoa, we're getting high up there in the world.
Also, fun fact, I didn't get my license until I was 18.
I don't think I got my license at all. I was almost 19, I think.
Mm.
19 or 20 because I was going to wait for. I don't know. I was in a different frame of mind when I was younger. Like,
Mm-hmm.
just not well put together back then. So I didn't have a lot of priorities that were in the best of
That and
places.
the driver's course in Minnesota was like $900.
Holy smokes.
This surprises you.
I didn't know that. Because what I did is someone said, you don't need to take driver's ed, but I said, I will take it because I feel like I need it. Well, it turns out I didn't.
Mm.
Which is like $150, which wasn't bad. And they got a little practice on the road. What taught me to drive actually was just being an Uber and Lyft driver for 2 years. That's what taught me the most.
And getting kicked in the pants with some negative reviews.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Anyway, we are 15 minutes in. Should we just crack on?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, is there anything else with Star Wars? No, I think that was it. There's some other news that was coming to my. Well, anyway, Jon Favreau's awesome. Anyway, yeah, we're good.
Yeah. By the way, you didn't wish me a happy 4th.
Yeah, I didn't.
Well, you didn't give me the traditional Star Wars Day greeting.
Yeah, here you go. That's the right one, right?
Just say the greeting.
What's the greeting? Is it this one? I
Something
thought it's the hand signal.
That's Star Trek.
What do you mean that's Star Trek? It's got the V for it's like the claw.
Hey,
The claw. That was amazing.
Thank you. But
Fred
seriously, give me the
May the
greeting.
4th be with you.
And with your spirit. Sorry, Catholic joke.
Live long and prosper. Haley's gonna be sitting there listening to this. She's gonna be like, boosh, boosh.
Oh, she does that every time I open my
sure.
mouth.
I'm sure. I didn't. Yeah. I wonder if she's still watching. I hope she's still watching the show.
Mm-hmm. Anyway.
I love the show. So anyway, yeah, we got that wrapped up. So yeah, let's go into our controversy of the week. Woo!
And don't mind if I do. Now, this has been hitting the rounds today, although I haven't really been able to follow everything that's been going on because my cell phone decided to go on the crapper again.
Oof.
And hopefully my new one comes on Friday. Anyway.
That's good.
But anyway. How many anyways can I fit into this segment?
Don't think about it. Think about my handsome face. It always helps. It calms me down.
Oh, good Lord, dude. Anyway. So a lady was pulled over in LA County, California.
Oh, it was in LA. Oh, well,
Yeah,
that explains it.
Yeah,
Does
it
that
was
surprise
in LA. Not really.
you? Oh my god.
But well, okay, yeah. There's LA crazy, and then there's this lazy. Wow.
No, I like that. This lazy, crazy lady. Yeah, I like that.
Otherwise
I didn't,
known,
but it's funny.
Otherwise known as this crazy.
Yeah, we got a swear word! ding, 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 ding.
Anyway, I'm just gonna play it and let it melt your brain cells, and then we'll react to it as it goes on.
All right.
All right, here we go.
We're not. Are we? Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going under the speed limit. I was going at 38.
Yes, you are, ma'am.
Congratulations.
Good morning.
Which is, and the speed limit is 40, and I was going 38. So why are you harassing me?
You are correct. I pulled you over
Because
because
you're a murderer.
because-
Yes, I.
Oh my god. Oh my god. What was your reaction? Is this your first time hearing this?
No, this is like my third.
Oh man. It's like doing shots. It's like the pain doesn't stop.
Yeah, I mean, I'm listening to this and I'm like, okay, you know, he's probably gonna say something, and then she's probably gonna respond to it, and then it's like, because you're a murderer, and I went, okay, did I miss something?
Yeah, and now I'll explain this. If people just think, "Wow, it's just crazy," I mean, it is crazy. But here's the thing: this is a woman, because I've seen this before, but we'll watch. Is that this is a woman who's coming from a perspective of not looking at individuals as individuals. You don't look at individuals doing that. No, you're trained in this woman's perspective in Marxism to see an officer as part of an oppressor class. So it doesn't matter whether this guy's actually killed people or not. No. You see, you're a class. You're part of the class of oppressors. You're the bourgeoisie. You're the enemy. So you all, because of your group identity, you're all murderers, right? So that's how she keeps chanting this over and over again. Not that she actually knows anything about this guy. She's like, oh, I've been told this is your class identity, and I know the truth. So you are this thing, and nothing you'll ever say will change my mind. And it's like, you're an evil. Anyway, keep going.
Record because you're a murderer.
You can't be on your cell phone
I
while you're driving.
wasn't on my phone. I was recording you because.
Yeah, and by the way, that's why she was pulled over, because she had her cell phone out while she was driving.
So what had happened is that she was texting while driving.
Well, I'm just gonna go off of her claim that say that she wasn't texting, she was actually going for record, which even still, I know here in Tennessee that you can't even touch your cell phone while you're driving in some areas.
Are they pretty strict over there?
Oh yes.
Hmm.
But yeah, you can't even touch your cell phone while you're driving.
Hmm.
Now, if it gets even better when she is actually using it to record, which, you know, that's what they make dash cams for.
Mm-hmm. So a more charitable interpretation is that she was like recording something, but it's like, why would you be just recording?
Well, she was recording the cop pulling her over.
Yeah, she did that, but it's like, I bet she was texting while driving and driving distracted. He pulled her over, and then she's all of a sudden saying, oh, I was recording you. I'm like, why would you be doing that beforehand? That's weird. You just randomly
she gets
record
into
cops.
it, but yeah, she gets into that.
Because you scared me.
You can't use your cell phone while you're recording.
You.
May I have your driver's license?
It's at my apartment.
Whoa! Big no. Big no. I know, especially in Tennessee, that's a big no.
Mm.
But,
Yikes.
yeah,
lady.
you know, in Tennessee, you can be detained for up to 72 hours for failing to produce ID.
Yikes. Has this happened to you, Mike?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm a good boy. I always carry ID on me.
Yeah. Where you live specifically, how strict is it? How strict are the cops?
It depends if you actually get pulled over.
Okay. Does
and
that happen?
It depends on what they're pulling you over for.
Hmm.
But anyway, I digress. Here we go.
What's your apartment?
Oh, I should also point out, I understand laws are going to change between states and cities. But as a general rule of thumb, you should have your ID or your driver's license on you if you're going to drive. Anyway, continuing.
It's at my home. I'm just taking my son to his.
Do you have your driver's license?
I mistakenly left it at home.
Do you have a picture of your driver's license?
Yes, I do.
May I have?
Now, I'm going to point this out right here because, this officer is being extremely nice, in my opinion. I mean,
Yeah.
She doesn't have her driver's license. Okay, do you at least have a picture of your driver's license? I can.
Also,
And from my standpoint, pretty nice.
yeah, it's pretty reasonable. Also, that's a really ugly Mercedes she's driving. I'm not gonna lie. Like, instead of driving a nice Mercedes, she's driving like the ugly sedan one. I'm like, ugh, yuck.
Mm-hmm.
Like the aggressive soccer mom. My husband makes more than $100,000 a year. I'm entitled. I can drive however I want. It's like, lady, get out of here. Ah! Continue.
Habit.
And can you call your supervisor, please?
I already did. He's on his way.
Ah, she pulled the camera. I want to talk to your supervisor. Why?
Well, hang on. Can we go over her little logical flaw there?
Which one?
Okay. Coming from an ideology of all cops are murderers, this cop's a murderer. Let me speak to your supervisor, who is a cop.
Yeah. It's like their ideology breaks down. Like it's just, oh my god.
Yeah, her ideology breaks down when she wants to be a Karen.
Ah, yes. Selectively applying her ideology. That's also a trait of a lot of Marxists as well.
Yeah. Oh boy, I love Karens. You know, side story.
I don't.
It's called sarcasm, dude. Learn it. Anyway, I actually used to be a cashier at Dollar General, and we had this one customer. I called her Juana la Loca.
Bless you.
Yeah, long story short, and this is the one story off the top of my head. You know, I was a key holder at the time, and she was cussing out my cashier because she didn't have money on her EBT card. And she was cussing her out in front of children.
Cussing her out in front of children, and her EBT card, is that like a welfare card?
Yeah, it is. It's food stamps.
So she's upset because the government isn't paying her because
she ran out of funds. And somehow it's my cashier's fault.
Yeah, she spent other people's money, and it's everyone else's fault. She doesn't have money.
I was tempted to lean out the window, watch for her leaving, and go, called it, Bernie sticker.
She had it right.
No, she didn't.
Oh, it's funny if she would have.
Just something I wanted to say, but I never got the chance.
Which was true. Well, it's kind of funny if you kind of think about it. If you follow the logic to the end, if you follow the logic to its logical conclusion, she's cussing out the lady and causing problems for the people who are paying her to sit on her ass and not do anything with her life, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because in Minnesota, you can be like on welfare indefinitely.
Continuing.
Okay.
And so you're giving me a cell phone ticket? Is that why you're harassing me?
Not harassment.
Yeah.
I am enforcing the law.
I have a right to record the police when they're harassing me.
By all means, but you can't do it while you're driving.
I wasn't texting or none of that.
Doesn't matter, sweetheart. If you're touching your phone, if you're on your phone while you're driving, that is a violation.
What she's trying to do is do this whole moral shenanigans thing where I'm like, oh, I'm getting harassed, when the reality is I was texting on my phone, I got busted, and so I'm putting up my bluster because I'm probably only making $40,000 a year in a state that taxes the living crap out of your income.
Mm-hmm. Another reason why I don't live in California anymore.
Anymore.
You had that picture?
I went to a couple schools there, and that's about it.
Scared me and made me think you were going to murder me.
Okay.
I was texting, and then I was texting while driving, and then I was scared because I was busted and didn't have my ID, and because I was scared, I felt that the officer was gonna murder me. Yeah, that's why.
Okay, well, I'm sorry you feel that way.
Well, that's not just a feeling, you're a murderer.
Okay.
Wow.
Dude, somebody punched this lady in the face, man. Oh, that's awful. Well,
and it's not even done yet.
Yeah. Not that I'm saying.
It's not a feeling. You are a murderer. Really? You've never? Have you met the guy?
You know, it's kind of funny how when you're totally calm, like really horrible people just start to reveal how horrible they really are.
Again, I have experience as a cashier at Dollar General. Of course, I wasn't being accused of murder.
Mm-hmm. Not yet.
I had a lady tell me that I should be in a concentration camp for being Catholic, but that's about it.
Oh, that's cute.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, continuing.
Can you zoom in on that for me,
Sure.
Jay? Thank you.
And I'm perfectly legal. And
I should also point out that this officer is Hispanic.
Yeah. But she's so drunk on her moral superiority, she doesn't care.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm perfectly good. Oh, what does that mean, sweetheart?
It's just like she's so smart. I'm perfectly legal. Okay, that makes me think you're not.
Now, granted, she could mean that she has all of her documentation in order. That could be the case.
Mm-hmm.
But since the left likes to pull all of this, what is that supposed to mean? Or
Reading into everything you're saying.
Yep, kind of it made a nice improv game on whose line is it anyway. Hey, what are you trying to say?
Yeah, read into everything everyone is saying all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Captain Buzzkill has entered chat.
and I'm a teacher. So there.
I barely make a living wage because I chose a
And she's teaching this to kids.
Yeah. Oh my.
There is not enough booze in the world, and this is the last of my bourbon.
Needed it
And I
too.
proceed to spill it on my polo.
That's okay. Stick. It's too late. You're committed. Let's keep going.
Yes, I know that.
You're a murderer.
What's your last name? I can't see that there.
Well,
If
here you
stop,
go,
Stop
murderer.
shaking. Zoom in on that for
No,
me,
because
man.
you're scaring me.
Oh,
You're threatening to kill me and my son.
God, this cop is ice cool. Ice cold.
I know,
like,
but
cool as a cucumber.
you're threatening to kill me. How? He is just standing there commonly giving you a citation. A citation is not the same thing as a ticket.
Yeah, just fire away.
Can you give me
Okay.
the
Well,
iPad,
I'll
please?
tell you what. You keep smiling. You're on camera.
You're trying to threaten to kill me.
I
I'm not
didn't say that.
smiling. You're the one who's crazy.
Hold that still. I can't see that.
She's
Is this
smiling
your car?
because she's enjoying this power trip she thinks she's on.
I stole my own car because you're jealous.
Yeah,
Why?
I don't think so.
What?
She asked him, no, hang on. The officer asked her if that was her car.
No, I get that, but it's just like you're trying.
You're trying to say I stole my own car?
That makes
it's like,
me
no,
think,
he's not making accusations. He's just gathering information.
It makes me kind of think, because no one said that, but you saying that makes me kind of think maybe you did steal your own car because you don't have an ID. So what?
How do you steal your own car? That's an interesting question.
She's just she likes lying. She just likes running your mouth.
Oh, of course.
Imagine being
Actually,
married to
there is a
her.
way you can steal your own car.
How much you want to bet she's a single mom? I will bet $10 that she's a single mom. I will bet money she's a single mom.
Well, there's just not enough data for me. So
Right.
She may not. I don't know. There's just not enough data.
If someone could prove to me that, I'll make the bet with myself. But I know you won't take the bet, but I will bet money she's a single mom, because I bet the husband's like, nope, I'm not putting up with this. I'm gone.
Yeah, and I
Imagine
bet the
being married to
husband's
that.
I bet the husband's the type like, dude, I am so sorry about my wife.
Right, or he's like one of those passive beta male guys who's got pencil neck and he's got his neck beard. He's like, yeah, anything you say.
Oh my God, this is a recording of Mrs. Schiff.
Shiffy ship. All right, keep going.
You wait for me right here, okay?
You're jealous.
All you need to do is your signature. He's only citing you for using your cell phone while you're driving. That's it.
Here you go, ma'am. Sign inside the
For,
red
being
box
a,
right
for
there.
him being a Mexican racist. What is that name? Gasso.
It's on the citation, ma'am.
Here you go, Mexican racist. You're always going to be a Mexican. You'll never be white. You know that, right? You'll never be white, which is what you really want to be.
There you
want
go,
to be
dear.
white.
Have a good day.
You want to be white.
You want to be white. Okay.
I
You wanna
don't
be
even know,
white.
dude.
You Mexican racist. It's kind of funny how when the left feels a need to not only
The
have
need
a
for
moral
speed.
they have the need for speed, smoking speed, being Sonic. they have this need to say, okay, I'm going to blame you. It's your fault because you're white. I'm going to project all this evil and terror and all the horrible things you've done or whatever your ancestors have done, whatever. You're a horrible person. But as soon as you're not white, it's like, oh, you see, you're still racist though. You're, what's that, Mr. Dinesh D'Souza? You're an Indian? Well, you're just a brown racist, right? Or, oh, you're Mexican. Oh, you're a Mexican.
Or you're whitewashed, I think
You're
is
white,
the term.
or they call you Uncle Tom's. And it's just like,
or Uncle Tim.
It's almost like you're having an argument with it's like you have an argument with somebody and you're like, well, how about this information? It's like, well, I'm still right. You're just stupid. I'm like, oh, I see how this goes. This reminds me of Jen King from Mao's Wife from the 60s. I was reading a book on that.
Yeah, this is a story I haven't heard. I mean, I'm familiar with Mao's wife and how evil of a woman she was.
Yeah, I might have mentioned it a little bit. So one of my favorite books I've ever read, and I'll hold it up to the camera here, it's called The Private Life of Chairman Mao by Dr. Li Zixue. And if I butcher the Chinese language, please forgive me.
Definitely don't be drinking if you're trying to pronounce that name.
Oh, that's for sure. And if you ever pick up this book, it's a cheap pickup. You can pick it up for a couple bucks on Amazon. Don't be intimidated by the length. It's one of those books that's a very fast, engaging read. It's a treat, and it feels like light reading, despite the subject matter. But it's fantastic, and it's very well written. And Jane King was the wife of Mao Zedong in the 50s and 60s. They were married up right up until he passed away, and she was widowed. And I think they had originally met when they were very young. She was an actress, and she, whatever her background was, she's absolutely stark raving psychotic. She's the kind of woman that
wasn't her favorite punishment the death by 1,000 cuts?
It may have very well been. After Mao, towards the end of Mao's life, he felt so bad for her because she had nothing to do with her life, that because her whole life she was devoted to him, and he cheated on her constantly on a weekly and oftentimes a daily basis with nurses, with girls he met at parties that I might add were specifically designed to get him laid. He was a stark raving sex addict, and her biggest fear was him leaving her. He never left her, but he cheated on her regularly, and that really affected her mental health. But the thing with her biggest problem was that her whole life was about projection, which is similar to this lady in the car. Let me read you a couple quotes of what kind of person she was like. Jan King's, she had a condition called neurasthenia, which was basically a condition where you're so mentally effed up a lot that you have mental problems that affect your physical health. It's a simple way of putting it. And many, many members of the Chinese Communist Party in the 60s had this. So Jan King's neurasthenia was the result of a life without meaning, and her incessant fear that she'd be abandoned by Mao. Her illness took the form of a general malaise and recidiveness, an excessive sensory to noise and light, and an impossibly bad temper. She was an inveterate pill taker, but she also tried to take solace through psychological escape. Movies were her main form of escape. So what she would do is she'd have her private doctor say, I'm upset, go screen a bunch of movies for me that'll relieve my mental issues, and then make me watch them. And then then we finally find a movie she would like, and then she would find something to complain about the movie. She'd rip it apart. If she couldn't find anything to rip apart with the movie, she would complain, oh, the lights are too bright in the room, and then they would be dimmed. It's like, oh, well, it's too cold in here, and so they would dim the light. They would make it warmer, or then it's too hot, so then it's then something else. So she was spend her time torturing her staff and everyone around her. She even criticized Gone with the Wind. She said that she often watched Gone with the Wind, all while deriding it as propaganda for the Southern slave system, and accusing those of us, this is Dr. Lee speaking, and accusing those of us who openly enjoyed the movie of being, quote, stinking counter-revolutionaries. In the mid-1950s, her words had little bite, but years later, during the Cultural Revolution, her vicious indictments would destroy careers and lives.
Ooh, that does sound familiar.
Yeah, she was part of the gang of 4 that tried to seize power in the wake of Mao, which is all she really wanted in her life. She to worship Mao and to do everything he told her to do, um, and she follow everything he wanted her to do, um, sacrifice her own identity, her own life to please him. Um, and while at the same time she filled her mind with so much poison that just made her underlying mental problems worse. And basically because she hated her life, and she hated that Mao cheated on her, she hated that she had no meaning, she had no reason for living. So because she's so upset, she says, I'm going to systematically go around and ruin everybody's life around her. And that's exactly what she did. She had people that her staff wouldn't stay on very long because she made their lives so stressful. Like, she would look for things to find fault with. She was like the ultimate Karen. She accused others of torturing her. Like, you'd say, I'm having problems with this and that, and then someone who had the balls to say, well, Jen King, that's because you are being a dick to everyone. It's like, you're trying to torture me, or you're a CIA spook, or you're just trying to make my life miserable when you're an evil person. Like, there's this one particular line she had said. Let me read you this exchange she had, and then we'll wrap up this subject. So Dr. Lee starts becoming Mao's private physician, because the last one quit because he had to deal with Jiang King, and Mao was psychotically evil. So Dr. Lee said Mao's problem is that he has an irregular schedule, and he refuses to adopt any kind of schedule to get regular sleep. And then Jiang King asks him to elaborate, and he says, and then Dr. Lee said, his irregular schedule is unfortunate, but he's been living like this for a long time. If we force him to change now, it might do more harm than good. You mean you think that there's no need to persuade the chairman to follow a regular schedule? Yeah, that's right, I responded. Otherwise, his insomnia might become worse. Isn't that something of a physician's opinion? Her voice was full of sarcasm. Already the meeting was not going well. It is my opinion, I replied. I was, after all, a physician. She raised her eyebrows and stared at me. Have you reported your opinion to the chairman? I have. And then she's taken aback. She began tapping her finger on the end table next to her. And what did the chairman say? She demanded. The chairman agreed with me. He said he's getting old and no longer able to change his habits so easily, I explained. She lowered her head for a moment, then lifted it, lightly patting her hair with her hand. And I knew that Mao's habits greatly distressed his wife, and that she would like to see them change, but she could not afford to disagree with her husband. She was the most pathetically dependent, and the most slavishly loyal, and the most unabashedly flatter of anyone in her circle. Without Mao, she was nothing. I agree with this opinion, she responded disingenuously. In the past, a number of leaders have encouraged the chairman to change his habits. I have not agreed. What about his sleeping pills? The chairman had insomnia for many years. The pills help him sleep, and he needs his rest. It looks as though you were not suggesting any changes, she responded. That's right. No, doctor, it seems to me that's a good idea. That the doctor, yeah. No, it seems to me that you think it's a good idea to keep things the same. Do you take sleeping pills yourself? No, I don't. You do not. You do know, don't you, that sleeping pills are bad for people's healths? Yes, I know they're bad for people's health, but it's better to not take any medicine if you can help it. Did you tell the chairman he's continued to take sleeping pills? And then she goes on, basically just criticizing. And then it's like, why didn't you told me any of this before? And she's like, I haven't had the chance. It's like, okay, well, if anything like this happens, you need to tell me right at once. And this is just one particular incident. They go on and on. Like, basically, like, I'm looking for fault and I'm criticizing you. She goes on and on and on, just trying to find fault, trying to find something to blame, someone to put fault on, trying to gain power. Is the whole point of the story that I'm trying to make. And she just projects all the stuff she was doing on people. So I'm just mentioning that as an interesting little story that I read right before the show. As somebody who kind of, when you follow along these lines of rejection and attacking and making people's lives miserable, it's along the similar vein as the lady in this particular video.
And by the way, kudos to that officer, because he was just cool as a cucumber.
Yeah.
And this is why I cannot be a cop, because I would have lost my patience.
Yeah.
I would have been snarky.
Yeah.
at that point. Yeah, yeah. I'm a teacher. Congratulations.
That's the hard thing. Being a cop, it's like you deal with all these really crazy people, and you're like the line of defense, and you have to go deal. It's like it's. How about we deal with all the terrible people at customer service jobs in one fell swoop?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just the thing that I find difficult is that these people are empowered to act like this and they can get away with it because who's going to stop them?
Exactly. It's like if you even dare to come near anyone, it's like you're cut down in a hail of bullets, figuratively speaking.
Mm-hmm. You know, Mike, it's funny. It kind of reminds me of getting cut down, stuff like that. It reminded me of kind of something we talked about maybe a couple episodes ago or several episodes ago of, we were talking a little bit about libertarians, for example.
Oh, somehow I knew you were going to squeeze that in.
I did. Well, the thing that I find difficult is sometimes libertarians have a tendency of just, they go along with these, not just these kinds of people, but sometimes libertarians have a tendency of just going along with the left's agenda, saying, "Oh yeah, well, everything's okay." Like they don't want to stick their heads out. They want to pretend that they're about the principle, but when it comes time to fight for the principle, they just kind of say, "Oh, whatever, I'll just, leave me alone, man." Mm-hmm. It's like when your principle requires you to stand for something and push back, they're nowhere to be found, which is frustrating sometimes. Not all libertarians, but sometimes some libertarians do that. And they act like they're the cool kids on the block when it's like, you're not, you're taking the path of least resistance.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't like it how people are enabled and allowed by so many people in society to do this kind of stuff.
And a lot of it, from my understanding, it's not so much libertarians, it's like mainstream Republicans that I've seen.
Yeah. They're probably the worst offenders.
Yeah, I'll just go along with the mob to save my own neck.
Yeah, it's just awful. It's and obviously not to derail the mood, obviously, but it's I mean, Mike, let me ask you this. Let me get your opinion on something. I mean, have you met people in your own personal life that kind of act like that just kind of pretend to be people of principle, but then they just kind of bow down to when they're pushed too hard, when they're pushed in a particular direction?
Personally, I can't really think of anybody that fits that exact description. I know people who are who I known were Republicans and just caved to the mob on certain things. But I haven't really met. Well, actually, you know what? I take that back. I do know a few people whose principles suddenly waver in the face of opposition.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I was one of them for a while.
Yeah.
Of course, the bourbon's starting to talk now.
All right, that's fine. How are you on time, by the way?
We have about 10 minutes.
Yeah. So some of those people you mentioned, what kind of became of them?
Well, I'm not going to get too much into it because, these are my friends and there's a certain amount of respect that I try to show.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I mean is maybe a different way of putting it is like, I mean, did they start to develop principles and start fighting back, or did they kind of just have like a trajectory for their lives of just not really?
It's like just go with the flow is the only way I could put it. And it's really infuriating because I knew these people in like high school and they were pretty strong, and then all of a sudden, Trump happened, and it's like, bye. And granted, I personally, on a personal level, I think the man's a pig. But, one of the things I had to learn was, you separate business from personal. That is, say, business dealings from personal dealings.
Mm-hmm.
And especially in the military, you know, you can't let political convictions or moral convictions get in the way of cohesion with your unit,
Mm-hmm.
because otherwise you're not going to have an effective fighting force.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the thing with Trump is that he was, I mean, he's not perfect and he's got imperfections, obviously, and those are pretty blatantly obvious at parts, but also at the same time, you got a guy who's not only a really strong leader, the things he fought for and did well.
And for the record, I voted for him both times.
Yeah. And I wasn't even on the Trump train when he ran in 2016. I didn't like him back then, but
Neither did I voted for Cruz in the primary.
Yeah, I did too, actually. Still like Cruz.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to see Cruz not breaking on stuff, but yeah, with Trump, I think that for what he stood for, and what he didn't have a perfect record, but for what he did and pushing back against the establishment, it's like, I like what you did. I don't support everything you did, but the general trajectory seems like you got the country in a really, really great shape.
Exactly, and I've heard rumors that he plans to run again in 2024, in which I'll be on that train 100%.
Yeah.
Even if it kills me, which at this point it might.
Yeah. Well, probably not in the state you live in. You're probably okay.
Well, true, but if I ever come up to Minneapolis again,
it's funny. Just going back to Minneapolis. It's just, I'll tell you this. It's funny. So I work in a suburb of Minneapolis. So it's not far from the cities, but it's not also close. Maybe like 20 minutes out of the city. It's funny how I ran into two people this past week, and you can tell a lot about people by how they dress and their mental frame of mind just by looking them in the eye and just observing them. And this one girl talked about how she thought Kentucky was the worst state ever and she hated it. And she was just kind of just rambling a little bit. And then she said, yeah, it's just really problematic things happen there. And it's had a history of things. And I'm like, it's like, okay, yeah, I could see that. Didn't express my actual opinion. I'm just like, you're a customer. I'm like, okay, great. I'm like, I could that time.
I've had to do that a couple times. I remember one lady going off on St. Jude's.
Mm-hmm.
And we were doing a fundraiser. We're always doing a fundraiser for St. Jude's. And she was just going off on, oh, their CEO makes X amount a year. It's like, I don't give a crap. I don't give a crap what he makes.
Oh.
All I know is that St. Jude's does good work. And I drank that. Another thing I know is that I drank that bourbon a little too fast.
That's okay. Well, it's funny how it's like there's this attitude you notice in like pop culture is that if you make a lot of money, you must have done it. You must be an evil person.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and then she just started oozing or gushing over Shriners.
Sanders?
No, Shriners.
Why?
I don't know. I mean, she just started oozing over. I'm like, as a Catholic, I'm naturally sort of iffy when it comes to Freemasons.
Oh, are they Freemasons?
Yeah, Shriners are Freemasons. As a matter of fact, Shriner is among the highest ranks of Freemasons.
Wow.
Who take their oath at a mosque.
They take their oath at a mosque.
Yep. Regardless of religious affiliation.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And it's still applicable today where, if a Catholic joins the Freemasons even today, he is automatically excommunicated.
Wow. We should talk about sometime, Mike. We should talk about okay, let me ask you this. If the audience wants us to do an episode on not just we should talk about Freemasons and we should talk about, we should discuss that and we should discuss kind of what we know about secret societies.
That'll be interesting.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, the Freemasons, the Rosicrucians.
Talk about the deep state too. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that will be fun. But we've only got about 4 minutes left, so we got to wrap it up.
We do. But yeah, you're saying that lady was just like, I'm going to stop here and you support a cause I don't like. I have the moral superiority.
And it's St. Jude's. St. Jude's, so it's 9 times out of 10, probably a Catholic institution.
Yeah, so all Catholics are automatically evil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been getting that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Gee, thanks for that. It's not like I've been getting that my whole life.
Do you know that the Catholic Church has been covering up pedophilia for centuries?
Well, if they've been covering up, they've been doing a pretty piss poor job of it.
Apparently.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, oh, you're part of the oppressor group and you're evil. But yeah, I had that lady come in and I was like, I'm just gonna just politely just disengage, and I did, because I can tell her frame of mind. And I kind of noticed as that lady particularly left, she's just like bickering about something. I'm like, you seem like an already miserable person. You're just looking for a source to dump it on. And this other lady came up to me and she was kind of flirting with me just a little bit. This younger girl, she was like in her 20s. It's like, yeah, I was thinking about moving out of the cities, but just like, there's all these white people everywhere. And I'm really concerned about moving to these like really white neighborhoods. And I'm just like, you think that because, yeah. And it's like, you're concerned because she's saying like, they're going to be so racist. And I'm just like, you're concerned about moving to a predominantly X neighborhood that they're going to be racist. It's like, no, it sounds like they're not racist.
You're planning to move to a certain neighborhood, and you're afraid that they're going to be prejudging you according to your race, and you're judging this according to their race.
Right. Yeah, and I was just like, okay, bye. I'm not flirting with you. Bye.
I mean, that doesn't sound like flirting. That sounds like...
Well, no, she was kind of like, hi, you're attractive. She kind of gave, like, she didn't say that, but like just the look in her eye, like, hey. And so we chatted for just a minute or two, but then she's saying that.
I am such a brave alpha female. I'm moving to someplace where my life is going to be in danger.
Yeah, and I pointed out to her, I said, well, it depends on which community you move to, which is a nice way of saying,
shut the heck up.
Yeah. I mean, it's like if you move to a poor income community, in general, where there's not a lot of opportunity and there's not a lot of jobs and people like, and it's the neighborhood's deteriorated. I don't think anyone's going to want to be there. So don't go there. But on the other hand, it's like, well, I'm going to judge everyone by the way they look, and they're all white Nazis. Okay.
You do you, boo-boo. But yeah. we are running out of time, so that was absolute money. I almost said dynamite, but then I'd have to throw in that clip. Did somebody say dynamite?
And you put it in anyways.
No. If I do it again, I'd probably get a copyright strike. But anyway.
Get the sound effect.
I think we both have book quotes tonight.
Well, I think I've already read mine, so why don't you just fire away with yours then?
Okay.
Oh, wait, no, I got a good one. I've got a one-line little quote that I underlined.
There it is, folks. Anyway.
All right, let me just grab this here real quick. I'm actually quoting it from the actual book, too. Let's see. I'm just going to grab... Oh, there it is, right there. And here is our... Here it is. Okay. In 1957, in a speech in Moscow, Mao said he was willing to lose 300 million people, half of China's population. Even if China lost half its population, Mao said the country would suffer no great loss. We could produce more people. It was not until the Great Leap Forward, when millions of Chinese began dying during the famine, that I became fully aware of how much Mao resembled his ruthless emperors he so admired. Here's the quote. Mao knew that people dying by the millions. He knew people were dying by the millions. He did not care.
That's any communist regime for you.
Mm-hmm. His will reigned supreme. To him, it didn't matter the people dying. What mattered to him was loyalty at all costs.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. I'm going to move mine down here. Are you done with yours?
Yes.
Good. All right, here's mine. As a result, there is a growing loss of the sense of history, which leads to even further breakup, a kind of deconstructionism whereby human freedom claims to create everything starting from zero, is making headway in today's culture. The one thing it leaves in its wake is the drive to limitless consumption and expressions of empty individualism. Concern about this led me to offer the young some advice. If someone tells young people to ignore their history, to reject the experiences of their elders, to look down on the past, and to look forward to a future that he himself holds out, doesn't it then become easy to draw them along so that they only do what he tells them? He needs the young to be shallow, uprooted, and distrustful, so that they can trust only in his promises and act according to his plans. That is how various ideologies operate. They destroy or deconstruct all differences so that they can reign unopposed. To do so, however, they need young people who have no use for history, who spurn the spiritual and human riches inherited from past generations, and are ignorant of everything that came before them.
I like that. Ignorant of everything that came before him. And what are the other qualities? Shallow, uprooted from their families and any structure. And what was the last quality they had?
Both history who spurn the spiritual and human riches.
Spurn the spiritual and human riches.
Yep. And you know where I read that from?
What?
That was paragraph 13 of Fratelli Tutti by Pope Francis.
Wow. Is that now? You'll have to remind me. Is that the present Pope? Is that right?
Yes, Pope Francis is the present Pope.
Wow. How long ago did he write that?
This is dated 3 October 2020.
2020.
Yeah.
I keep hearing two different things about the Pope. I keep hearing that he's a globalist and he supports the New World Order, this ideology like that. And then I hear good things about him. And I'm like, I don't know what to think. We should talk about that sometime.
Indeed. And I had a little flashcard with that very quote on it. Pause. Actually, let's redo that part. Okay, so I'm gonna dive under my desk really quick, and trust me, I'm gonna play something with that. Oh, wait a minute, I can't. I'll find a way. But anyway, this is not even the right thing. Wow, I'm having a night.
No, you can edit it. That's okay.
I know, but I know what quote you're talking about, and we can talk about it another time. But you know,
Yeah.
he does use the word globalism, but it's not the same definition as you and I think of globalism.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I think that'll about wrap it up for tonight, as we've been running for an hour and 5 minutes now.
Yeah.
So
we covered a lot of ground.
Yes, we did, and that was, and like I said, that episode was absolute money.
Money.
I'm gonna get crap for that. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to tune in next week, and be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and check us out on our podcast platforms, which I'll list in the outro.
Mm-hmm.
And also be sure to check us out on Facebook, ladies and gentlemen. We are the Tangent Kings. You have a good night. Pax et bonum.
Hey folks, if you like our podcast, be sure to check us out on Facebook and also check us out on our podcast platforms, namely Anchor, Spotify, Google Cast, and others you can also find on Anchor. God bless.